doing another episode of Dark Girl Chronicles. I just got back from Columbia and I decided I wanted to do a video. I was going to do one while I was there, but I wound up not doing it because, as usual, my boyfriend decided to be distracting, and so I couldn't do what I wanted to do right then. So I decided to wait until I got home. And also, we're going to do a boyfriend tag video at some point. I don't know when. I'm super excited. I'm super excited about that. We're going to do that in a little bit. He said he would. I was like, all right, I'm going to go get the questions to do this. And so we're going to do it. And we were going to do that the other day, but I wound up not doing it. So nothing much going on with me. I just updated my iPod to the iOS 7 update, and I love how it looks. It's super, super cool and fresh. I think it's so awesome. So I'm excited about that. I'm also going to update it on my phone because I have an iPhone 4, which, as you can see, this is my phone. And it's a picture of me and my boyfriend. And a picture of my boyfriend. He's like super whited out on this, but it's a picture of my boyfriend on my phone. So I'm gonna get my phone off. I gotta charge it up. I have no battery. Also, the start screen on my iPod, my screensaver is a picture of me and my mommy when I was a very little baby. I was a very little baby. And she's holding me, and we're on this riverboat on the Mississippi River. Because my parents went to New Orleans. And so when I was a baby. And I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I loved the picture. So I was like, oh, I'm going to put this picture as my main screen thing. I scanned it in and put it on my iPod. And then the other picture is of me and him. It's a black and white picture of me and him from like a couple of weeks ago when I was in Columbia last. And we took a bunch of pictures, and they turned out really nice. Those were ones that I said look like engagement pictures. But they're not engagement pictures. They're just pictures of us as a couple. So yeah, I thought those were really cute, and so I kept them. And I put it on my iPod. So, not too much going on. I updated my phone and stuff, and, okay, so something awesome happened. Ew. Relationship update. So, okay, I went to Columbia, and, I spent time with him. Actually, several awesome things happened while I was in Columbia. So I spent time with him, and our usual 2 days where I stayed 2 days. And so like then he asked me, he was like, so you gonna stay an extra day? And I was like, what do you mean? You've not asked me that before. What do you mean? And then he was like, yeah, you wanna stay the extra night, or are you gonna go back over to your parents? And I was like, I could stay the extra night if you really want me to. I didn't think that you wanted me to, so I wasn't planning to do that. But I mean, I went to see my parents. I had to drop off my mom's Foreman grill because I borrowed it from her, and to cook our steak on our anniversary night. And so I took it back over there like that night, and not that night, but I took it over like Tuesday night. And so I talked to her, and I told her, I said, well, it seems that Mr. Man here wants me to stay an extra night with him. I wasn't planning to do that, but this actually works out very well. And if you don't mind, I would like to stay an extra night with him. So I did. Of course, by that point, he was working on my nerves. So it's just because we spent a lot of time together and I wasn't used to that just yet. That he was really, like, annoying me. And it was just me. It wasn't him. It was me. I was being annoyed by, like, everything. So I don't know. I just was grumpy all day because I was hungry and I hadn't gotten a whole lot of sleep. We gone to sleep and I gotten sleep, but I just was tired. I had woken up the night before because we fell asleep, and I woke up and I didn't mean to go to sleep, and we were laying on his he has a pull-out sofa. And we're laying on this pull-out sofa and we'd fallen asleep on it. And that pull-out sofa was super uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, that hurt. It hurt really bad. It hurt me in places I didn't know things could hurt. So I just was like, no, sir, we got to get up from here. So I woke up and it was like 2:30 in the morning. And I was like, I'm going to get in the bed. And then he got in the bed shortly thereafter because he was also super tired because he'd fallen asleep laying there. So, but, like, I was really surprised that he asked if I wanted to stay the extra night or not. And then I realized later on, and he actually came out and told me why he asked me to stay the extra night. So, I'll get to that in a minute. But we met up with his dad. This is the really awesome part. We met up with his dad. Now, I've met his mom, and I haven't met any of his other family members, but I met his mom, and I figured meeting the parents, that's a really big deal that will come in time. I'm not rushing that. That's not something that I feel like, oh my God, I have to do this right now type thing. I really, 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 like I said in my previous blog, that I wasn't ready to have new in-laws just yet. And I wasn't. And I'm still not. Not like super, oh my God, these are going to be my in-laws. I will see these people on a regular basis, and I'm ready to jump into that. I'm not ready to jump into that just yet. We're serious, and we're pretty serious. Like, as I explained to his dad when I met him, I told him, I had told my aunts about him, and my cousins had met him, and some of my aunts had met him. And it's pretty serious. Like, they asked me about him, and, because they're all like, oh my God, you were divorced, and now you're seeing someone, so this is good news, and it's, I'm super happy for you. And so, it's kind of a change for me, because I had really, really wasn't looking to, jump into the in-law situation again. That's always not... Sometimes it turns out really spectacular and wonderful, and then there's my situation. And I've explained about my in-laws. So I wasn't exactly like jumping up and down ready to be like, woohoo, we got in-laws again. No. So when I met his dad, I was super nervous, which I had said I was going to be probably. And I had already kind of talked myself into it because he had mentioned that his dad was in town. And so, like, we were in downtown Columbia and we were driving and we see his car in the parking lot for where he works. And he's like, yeah, my dad's in town. And I'm like, oh, crap. I'm like, oh, crap. So I didn't say that, but I was thinking it to myself that, oh, crap. We're going to meet Daddy at some point. So I was like, all right, fine. We're going to meet Dad. Excuse me. I was like, we're going to meet Dad. Fine. We'll meet Dad and it'll be okay. But I was still super nervous. And he was nervous too. Because, again, this is a huge step. We've not introduced... I mean, he's met my parents and all. He's met both of my parents. I mean, he sees them all the time. As a matter of fact, he saw him that night. And he saw my dad the night before that. So it's like, yeah, that's not a surprise thing. It's more of, oh my God, she's meeting my parents kind of thing. This is super serious. Oh my gosh, she's meeting my parents. So I understood why he was a little he was nervous, but I was super nervous because I wanted to make a good impression on his mom and dad. Like, I could marry him and I could be happy with him and be married, but meeting the parents, that never ceases to be a not important thing. Like, that never ever ceases to be something where I'm not going to be nervous about that. That's always a big deal. And so, because they're important to him. These are his people, and they're super important to him. And they're important to me. And I told him this. I said, your people are important to you. They are important to me. And I want to make a good impression. And I want them to not have these ideas already formed about me based on something they've heard secondhand or they've seen a picture of me. Like, I don't want them to be having these ideas and things and they don't know that that's not me. So we get to dinner. We went to dinner with his dad, and we get to dinner, and I'm all just dressed up. Like, I got super dressed up. I put on some pearls. Well, I had already gotten dressed up earlier in the day because we went to a job fair. And so I was like, I need to get dressed up further. And so I freshened up my makeup, and because I put on some eyeshadow. I put on some silver eyeshadow, and I put on black eyeliner underneath. And I did my hair up. I had a different hairpiece on, and I did my hair up, and it was I had it kind of pulled to the side, and kind of like, actually I can show you because this piece is long enough to do it. I had my hair like this, and in the piece, and I had on pearls. I had on my string of pearls, and I had on some nice earrings, some really really nice earrings. One in this hole right here, and then of course there. And I had on a nice, I had on an undershirt, but I had on a nice little cardigan on top of it, and I had buttoned up a little bit. So you couldn't really, I mean, you could see that I had on an undershirt underneath it, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, he's so completely not dressed for this. And, kind of undershirt. Um, I had on, it was a brown, little 3/4 sleeve, um, cropped cardigan from Old Navy because I love Old Navy's clothes, and I had on a brown undershirt, like tank undershirt underneath that from Old Navy, and then I had like a I had on a black pencil skirt from Old Navy, so I was completely like dressed up Old Navy style, and because I love Old Navy. I owe them quite a bit of money right now too. um, because I buy clothes every season. But anyway, so I had on some and I wore my slingback patent leather black heels, like 3 3/4 inch heels. They're almost 4 inch heels, and that I got from Nine West for like $20, like 4 years ago, and so or 3 years ago. So I had on. I mean, I was really like super dressed up, and oh, and I had on a little bracelet that I also got from Old Navy. It's like a white bracelet. Um, so I was wearing this, and I was all dressed up and nervous, and I put on lip gloss and really freshened up my makeup and all, and so I was trying to look really sophisticated, yet not like overly sophisticated. And so, and then I wore my shades. I have some black, like, giant circular shades that I love. They look like Jackie O sunglasses. And I love that style, so I wear those all the time. Um, and so I wore that, and so I was super nervous, and I told him, I said, before we even got there, I was like, don't be surprised, excuse me, don't be surprised if I don't talk a whole lot during dinner because I'm super nervous. And so I try not to talk a whole lot when I'm nervous because otherwise I will ramble and be all over the place. So, more so than usual. So, we get there and I see his dad is sitting there and he's having a glass of wine. And I'm already like, oh my God, this is not going to go well. So I'm like super nervous walking in. And so he's like being all super polite and, like holding the door. And he always is anyway. Like, Brandon is always super polite and very well mannered. I have to say that for him. He has impeccable manners because both of his parents taught him very well about being nice and having manners and treating people with respect and dignity and that sort of thing. He's also super, super, super unfailingly nice and polite to me. And he always has been long before he was my boyfriend. He was always like just super, super nice to me. And so I was like, okay. He just has really good manners, but also I think it was because he really liked me. So anyway, we go and we're walking in, and like I'm trying not to kill myself in these 3 3/4 inch heels that I have broken in by now. And I was like super, super nervous, and this floor is slick, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to break my neck. I don't want to trip. Please do not let me make a fool of myself. So he's introduced me, and he's already talked about me apparently to his dad. Okay. So then he introduces me to his father, and his father is fine as hell. I got a good look at him, and I was like, holy crap, this old dude is fine as hell. Oh my gosh. I already like him old anyway. I love old dudes. I just love old dudes. I just do. I love men with gray hair. I do. It's something about that gray hair that it just screams maturity and stability. And you would think I would learn my lesson by now with fooling with old dudes, but apparently I have not learned my lesson. Um, this old dude was so fine. Oh my gosh. I wanted to be like, hello. And I'm trying not to sit there and stare, but I'm looking at him like, holy crap, you were fine as hell. Oh my gosh, he was fine. And had some of the smoothest, softest skin and just beautiful skin color. I could see where his parents, I could see the mix immediately. I realized what features he got from his mom and what features he got from his dad. Yeah. And I'm trying not to flirt with his dad while I'm sitting there, like, I'm sitting at dinner with him and his dad, and I'm trying not to flirt. Holy crap. So, like, his dad was asking me questions and stuff, and we're talking, and, I told him about my mom and how my mom is terminally ill, and, that I'm trying to get back to Colombia because he thought I was already in Colombia at this point. And I was like, no, I'm trying to get back to Colombia, but, I'm still 3 hours away, but I come to visit my parents and to see him. And so I kind of dropped the hint that it was pretty serious, that I was coming to visit him all the time. And, so, I mean, we talked about it, and he was like, and what made me mad was that before we even got to the restaurant, when he talked to his dad and set up dinner, he said, oh, Dad, I have a friend I want to bring with me. And I'm like, excuse me? Really? Excuse me? No, sir. I am not just a friend. Do not introduce me to your parent as your friend, because I am not just your friend. Let's go on and clear that up right now. If you're going to be introducing me and having me sitting down at dinner with your parent, you better introduce me with the correct title. I am your girlfriend, okay? If you want to call me your lady friend or your significant other or whatever, as long as it's more than just friend and they got the point that I'm more than just your friend, that's fine with me. But do not introduce me as solely just your friend, because that starts creating confusion, and then parents are like, but wait a minute. So that girl I just met is your girlfriend, or is she just your friend? Okay. And so his mom already knows the deal. His mom already knows the deal. And I mean, I've talked to her. I've met the woman like a million times, and she knows that we're seeing each other and that it's pretty serious. She knows that we're dating. But his dad knew that we were dating, but he didn't, I think he talked about me, but not like a whole lot to him. So that's why I was like, no, sir, you need to introduce me with the correct title. So when we're sitting down there at dinner, he's like, "Oh, yes, this is," he said, "This is Lindsay, and oh, and we're dating." And I don't know if his dad like caught that part, but later on, I mentioned when I was mentioning about him meeting my aunts and stuff. I said, you know, I told my aunts that this is pretty serious, and you know, this is the dude. And so they met him at Christmas before we were like super serious. We weren't even like dating at that point. And I told him, I said, you got to understand. I told Brandon this. I said, technically we were dating, and we've been dating for some time, but we weren't in a relationship dating. We were casually dating each other. Um, and even though everybody else had assumed that we were together anyway, because we talked about each other all the time and we spent a lot of time together, so automatically people assumed that we were dating. Like his mom was even like, that's why his mom was like later, yeah, I kind of figured that was the natural order of things since though you spent a lot of time together. So I was like, yeah, that wasn't me, that was him. I wanted to be official and dating, but he did not want to do that right then. And you can't make somebody want to do something they don't want to do. Like, I don't want to do that. So, anyway, so we're sitting at dinner and he's asking me all these questions and stuff. And so I told him, this is pretty serious and whatever. And I noticed Brandon was all like, got real quiet and he didn't say too much, but he was like, oh, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's pretty serious. And I said, and we spent a lot of time together, and so, I didn't say that I loved him, but I hope that I had made the impression that I loved him and that I was sticking by him for the long haul, which I am, and that I'm not going anywhere. So, I'm not going anywhere unless Brandon wants me to go somewhere, So, his dad was like, and the really cool part here was the fact that his dad was like, after I said this, he says, I'm really happy for you guys. He's like, I'm really happy for you too. And I was like, parental approval, yay! I didn't do that, but it was kind of like, I know my face changed. I know my face completely changed. Because I was trying to be all serious and stoic and, try not to make an ass of myself and jump the gun on anything. And then, he's like, yeah, I completely approve of you too. And he was like, and when we left dinner, he was like, it was really nice to meet you. And I was like, oh. I was so super excited, and I was trying not to be ridiculous, and I tried to wait until later to be like, seriously, do you really think your dad liked me? Like, I mean, I understand that he did, but there's putting on and pretending you like someone that your child is obviously interested in, and then there's, yeah, I really like this girl. She seems like she's good for you, and she's really nice, and she seems to have her act together, and I gathered that's what that was. So I really gathered that that's what that was. And so later on, the really cool part later was that he and I were talking about it, and he was like, and I said, well, why do you like me so much? Like I had said basically that, and in between kisses, and he said that I was someone that he could take home to his parents. He was like, you're the kind of woman I can take home to my mom and dad, and you have class and manners. He was like, you have class, and you're smart, you're super smart, and funny, and I could take you home to meet my mom and dad. And I was like, holy crap, I have never been that chick. I've never been the chick that you could take home to your mama and daddy. I haven't been. I have never been that chick. So that's why I was like, this is getting super serious all of a sudden. So, okay. After that just made my whole week. I mean, completely made my whole week. But, the really sweet thing that happened. Okay, so I don't know, I kind of got mad with him. And I don't want to get into why I got mad, but I'll just say that I was like, dude, like, stop being all hot and cold about this. Like, don't do this because this is not cool. This is not a good idea to do this, and you wouldn't appreciate it if I did it to you. So, anyway, we made up, and it was really sweet, and so, It was our first, like, I guess, mini fight as a couple. And it wasn't even really a fight. I just was kind of mad about something. And I pointed out that I was mad about it and that I didn't like it. And I'd rather just talk to him about it than I will never ever, and I'd always said this even when I was married, that I never ever ever will go to bed angry with someone. I do not like doing that. I will never do that. Not intentionally, because I can't stand that, and I never sleep right. I always wake up and I'm still angry, and I remember why I was angry, and it never works very well. And the night before my husband left town and decided to end his marriage, we had gotten into an argument and we'd gone to bed angry. And I regret doing that, even to this day. Even though, I mean, my marriage is over or whatever, and, you know, it's been over for some time, like, I still regret that, because that's, that's awful. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. And I said with Brandon, I said I would never, ever do this again. I would never, ever go to bed angry. And so we kind of, I was mad a little bit when we went to bed. It wasn't until after we went to bed that I got angry. And so I got up and I couldn't sleep, of course. And then I got up and I told him, I was like, you know, I don't appreciate this. And we talked about it. And so and then we kind of made up or whatever. But the really sweet thing was that he told me, he was like, because he asked me when I was leaving. And I had said, you know, I'm like usual, I'm going to leave Wednesday. Um, and so he was like, he was like, oh, I'm going to be lonely when you go. And I was like, oh, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't hit me in the feels like this. Don't do this. Don't hit my feels. So I was like, you are hitting me in the lady feels right now. Don't do this. So the second day, like when I left, when I was packing up my stuff to leave, and actually he talked all this noise and told my mom, oh yeah, I'm going to have her on the road by 10:30, and you know, she's going to be up and she's going to get out of here on time and she's going to get home and be able to get back to work on time. And so the next morning rolls around and I get up. Well, I woke up. I set my alarm and I woke up. And he got back in the bed and he was just like hugging up on me. And he was like, I don't want you to go. And I'm like, don't do this to me. Do you know how hard this is for me to get up out of this? Do you know how hard it is for me to leave town knowing that I don't want to go back? I truly want to be in Colombia. Like, I want to be there right now if I could be. Like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I do not want to go. Um, and so I just was like, I can't, God, don't do this to me right now. Do not do this to me. I can't deal with this. This is going to make it impossible for me to get in this car and leave. So I didn't say that, but I was kind of like, oh God, he cannot be doing this. Like, it's going to make me so want to stay. So we get outside and he's packing up my stuff in the car, and um I'm already just like, I don't want to go. It's a beautiful, gorgeous day. And all I want to do is stay here and look in your face all day. So, and I'm like, but babe, I gotta go. I can't stay. You know, I gotta go back. I gotta make money. I gotta eat. I got bills to pay. I cannot stay as much as I want to. I can't stay. So I'm outside and I'm packing my stuff in the car. And he's packing my stuff in the car and I'm getting ready to get in the car. And he puts his arms around me and he's like, I don't want you to go. He was like, I really don't want you to go. I wish you could stay and stay here with me. And I was like, oh my God, you are killing my feels right now. I literally had to get in the car to stop from crying. It was so bad. Like, I literally was tearing up. And I'm like, babe, I have to get on the road. I have to. You are making this impossible for me. I really don't want to get in this car and I don't want to leave. I want to sit here and have breakfast with you and look in your face and plot what we're going to do today because we've spent the past 3 days together. And it was just so, it was so sweet, yet, God, it was depressing. It was depressing. Oh, God, that was so depressing. I can't put words to it. How much that broke my heart that I could not stay there with him. And so that's why I'm just like, God, I've got to get a job and move back home. Not just for my mom, because Lord knows I don't want to leave her either. That, God, that was killing me. I just was like, and I talked to my mom every day that I was there, that I wasn't like physically at the house. I called her and was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm working. And I'm like, I miss you, mommy. And she's like, I know you do. I was like, you know where I am. It's not like I'm not doing anything, but I called my mom like every day and talked to her for like 5 minutes, like every day, at least 5 minutes. So that's why I'm just like, I don't know. I gotta get back home. I have to get back home. This is killing me. I can't keep doing this. I don't want to drive the 3 hours. I want to be there. I want to be there, and I want to live with my mom and dad, and I want to stay with Brandon and be there with him. And then he got good news. He got another job. Somebody offered him a job, and um it's pretty decent. I mean, it's part-time, but it's a decent job. Like, it's decent. And it's better than what he's got right now. And God, I want to see him succeed so much because he's such a nice person. He's such a good person that I really want to see him do. I want to see him do so well with things. And it's just killing me right now. It is. So, I guess I'm gonna go now because I am like 32 minutes over. I'm over 32 minutes here. So, um, but yeah, a lot of amazing things happened this weekend. That was pretty much the bulk of it. And that I got to spend time with him. And we celebrated our 5-month anniversary, and I cooked a steak dinner, and it turned out really well. And, we had a good time. We got to watch Advent Children together. Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. We both love anime, and even though I don't like Final Fantasy, I love Advent Children. So I got to sit there and we watched it together, and we were eating popcorn, and it was super sweet. Because we love movies, and we are always going to the movies to see things together. So the last thing we went to the movies to see was The Man with the Iron Fist by Quentin Tarantino and the RZA. Mostly the RZA, but yeah, we went to see that because we love martial arts flicks and stuff like that, and I love the RZA anyway. So, I'm a huge fan of the RZA. So, and he is too. So we tend to like anything that the RZA does, like movie style or like anything with his movie soundtracks or stuff like that. So yeah, we went to see that when it came out, and it was pretty good. I liked it. I liked it a lot. And we had Chinese that night. We'd gone on a date and had Chinese, and we went to see it at my favorite Chinese restaurant in Columbia. So yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna go because there's really not much else to talk about, and I'm like at 33 minutes now. So I'll see you guys later. And I will probably do a video at some point later in the week when I've got a little bit more time. Maybe next week when I'm off. We'll see. So I'll see you guys later and have a good night. And I'm going to go finally get some sleep. I'm also going to eat my dinner. Super late, so I'm going to eat my dinner and then I'm going to go to sleep because I'm yawning. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Deuces.